So I don't know about you. I would assume so because you clicked on the video, but I don't know about you. I am really excited for this episode. Our fourth season with Tranmere Rovers begins. Today is our debut in League One. I was tempted to play the game. I'm not going to, maybe down the stretch, or maybe every once in a while I'll end up playing a game, but I do want to start making a decent amount of progress, especially with the fact that our team is now set. Again, this is our first team unit to begin the season. It's fairly ridiculous, and I'd like to think we're going to find success this season. Some of the talent that we have on the bench, guys that are a part of the second team. There are others, of course, that we're still looking to sell, whether that be Manolich or some others that we're looking to loan out, like Cox, Richardson, and Galliano. Regardless, our roster is looking tremendous, not to mention the talent level that we have in the Youth Academy is absolutely insane. We finally hit that point where this roster is, like, we're getting to that prospect factory level where we are going to be able to make sure that we have the best of the best out of the group at any given time. Of course, the amount of goalkeepers that we have kind of concerns me a little bit because we're not going to be able to keep all of them. That said, keep in mind, we're currently scouting New Zealand, Bolivia, and Egypt. After that, I'm thinking it'll be France, Colombia, and Germany as the most popular voted on countries, or voted on mentioned countries at the very least. So our first team is good to go. Let's sim our first ever game in League One against Notts County. Like I said, very tempted to play this, but I do want this episode to be about as much progress as possible as we give up a goal in the first minute. Not a great debut. Moritz Meyer strikes back in the 12th. Kelly with a yellow card. Or as we approach halftime, Kelly scores. Beautiful. And oh my God, Wright scored two. 3-1. 3 unanswered goals in the first half. Meyer makes it 4. Hello, League One. We are Tranmere Rovers, and we are here to stay. 5-1. 5 unanswered goals as they missed a penalty in the 87th. Holy hell. What a debut that was. That was phenomenal. That is better than what I ever expected. I mean, I could have played that, and it probably wouldn't have been that good, especially, too, considering the matchups that we did play a few episodes ago. We didn't exactly kill it, as we do get a loan offer for Horatio Sanchez, which we will look to accept. Hopefully he can go out. That is Mexico, I believe. Is it not? So that would be pretty nice. And the monthly report we don't have to worry about. And I think, again, the focus is going to be training up the players who are very close to, getting up to that next overall level, to leveling up, essentially, and trying to get them over that edge. Alex Luthi, you know what? Screw it. We might as well. Might as well try to get you better as well. So really, in terms of like, oh, I simmed, or we made a jump cut in the video, what happened? This is all that happens. Simming games, training up players, and just waiting to see if we can get the results, as Torben Weber may also improve here. He's not going to improve this week, but that's okay. Galliano up to a 61. Again, I was really hoping he'd go out on loan. He didn't. That is kind of the one problem, is that we have been stuck with some players, but we'll still have the option to potentially set them up to go out on loan in January. But for the most part, some of them will be getting very little play time, if any, up until that January transfer window. Like I said, though, hopefully Galliano and Sanchez can be on the way out. They're the types that will suffer from not being loaned out, as we're playing Mansfield Town coming up. We get another loan offer for Galliano. If he doesn't leave on loan, then this system, man, I know there's the apparent change it to being able to be transferred out instead of loaned out, and that occasionally works, but 3 offers. Manolich has been sold, so that was the last guy that we were looking to get rid of. Is he on the move already? He should be on the move now. At the very least, we don't have to worry about him. So Manolich is on the move. Not Sean Cox, but Patrick Cox may go out on loan. And Andreas Ferreras was also sold after we brought in Galliano. So those two are off the list. We don't have to worry about them at this point. And of course, Galliano's other loan move was rejected. So there's only one player left on roster, I believe. Actually, no, that was the final one. Those are the final 2 guys that we were looking to sell. So at least everybody else here happened to be players, everyone else that's here happened to be players that we want to keep, as Sanchez has been loaned out as well. They're players that we want to keep, but most of them we want to loan out. As we get an offer, an international management offer for South Africa, I am going to reject that. We'll talk about international management later on. Horatio Sanchez has indeed been loaned out, which is nice. And we have another loan offer. Galliano has to go, right? We've had, 3, 4 offers for him already? I'd like to think it's going to happen. Now, we are playing Mansfield Town. Our first team is good to go, but we have a cup match midweek, Carabao Cup against Exeter City. And then at the end of the month, we also play Portsmouth in the Checkatrade Trophy tournament. So I think we're going to play the second team here against Mansfield Town, and this will be the big test as to whether or not they're good enough to earn us some points throughout the season, as it might be worth getting guys like Morgan, Davies, Cox, Richardson, and Galliano onto the bench. These are guys that we're supposed to be loaned out. So let's do that. So Morgan and Anderson are the main options that we'd have to sit. O'Leary and Wilson. Okay, so yeah, we should be fine here in terms of fitting these guys on the team. So Morgan and Anderson are starters. They're on the first team, so we'll replace one Morgan with Morgan. We'll bring up Davies. Defensively, I actually should be able to bring up everybody else. We're going to have an over-reliance on defenders, but so be it. So let's bring in Cox, Richardson, and Galliano. And in that way, everybody is on the bench and might get some playing time. So that actually worked out relatively well, outside of the fact that Moritz Meyer isn't going to be on the bench, and it's definitely a defense-heavy bench, but that's okay. Let's see if the second team can manage to earn us points. It's going to be it's going to be a big factor this season as to whether or not we find success and potentially get promoted again. Let's sim this. 3-2-1. 2-0 win. I'll take it. Sip gets hurt again. He cannot stay healthy. But Luna and Weber with the goals. I'll take it. I will take it. Mansfield lost their first game of the season. How long is Sip out for is the main question here. 7 days. Okay, that's not too bad. We can deal with that. I think I might get through this first cup match, perhaps, and then switch back to the non-live setup, as we can take out Galliano. Who else is close to leveling up here, for lack of a better term? Berezovsky already has training. Kelly and Morgan are close. Oriana, Oriana, I'm going with that. I think it was close enough. Thomas Arnay, let's go ahead and level him up too. Or at least get closer to it, as he's the only one who actually didn't go up in overall points. So Berezovsky up to a 68, Anderson up to a 71, Weber up to a 66. This team is really starting to come together. And like I said, getting rid of that clutter, crucial for us in terms of making sure that everyone's getting the amount of attention that they need. As Cox has been loaned out, he is our third string right back. Hopefully he'll get some decent playing time there. And let's take a look. Galliano's other move was rejected. Can you please just come to an agreement with somebody and go? Like, goddamn, just leave. It would be great. But with Cox being loaned out, that does mean that Moritz Meyer now has a spot on the bench. So that's perfect. I'll just leave Sip there. Hopefully it lets me save it, and it did. We're not going to be playing him, although I think he's on the bench for the first team. If I'm not mistaken, he is. He's going to have to take a seat for Berezovsky. That's a pretty straightforward decision there. So the solid amount of depth that we have, that's how much depth that we have, is that Sip right now isn't on the first team unit. But we are good to go. Let's see how we can do in tournament play to begin the season. Carabao Cup match against Exeter City. Can we get the win? Let's find out. As they score 3 minutes in, what is with our terrible luck when it comes to that, giving up early goals? It's taken us a little bit to try and get back into this. Come on. We can do this. We can get the W, I believe. Halftime. Still nothing. Come on. Moritz, I believe in you. Yes, ask and you shall receive. 59th minute. Moritz Meyer with the goal. Can we win this in the 90 minutes? And we lose 4-3 on pens. That's incredibly disappointing to have started our first team and still lost. I believe Exeter is in the same league. Like, they're in League One as well, are they not? So that is incredibly disappointing. We do get the win with the second team. Where is Exeter? Did they go a league up? Did they go a league up? They might have, to be honest. Let me go see if I can find out where the hell they are right now. If we go other leagues. I think I forgot to look at other leagues. I looked at the tournament play last year, but I didn't look at the leagues. Whoops. That's always a great feeling when you just remember that, like an episode later. My bad. I'll try not to forget. Are they down in League 2? Did we just lose? We did. We lost to a League 2 side. So we escaped the league, but the revenge strikes back. I'll see you guys whenever the next training session's back, I think, because for now I gotta sit here and cry at the fact that we just lost that game. So, fun fact, we only made about a 30-second jump cut because we're here. I couldn't remember the dates of the reports being back, so that's embarrassing. But let's see here. Kennedy, who went to New Zealand. Ethan Murphy is not going to be good enough. Mason Kelly is not going to be good enough. Reese Cooper, unfortunately not. Aiden Bell is a no. Sam White is a no. Archie Bailey is very much a yes, and I imagine he's going to be a right back or a center mid at 5'9". So we at least have one player from New Zealand with Archie Bailey. From Bolivia, who do we have? Lucio Miranda's not going to work. Would that be Virgilio Hurtado? Not going to work. Fabricio Benitez will not be signed. Isidoro Cordoba will not be signed. And Gregorio Sepulveda will be signed. It's another ridiculous instance of having too many goddamn talented goalkeepers available to us. Cabrera might be dropped. Luthie's going to be dropped, I think. We're almost, Jansen will definitely be dropped, or Johansson will definitely be dropped. Is there someone else? Velasquez. Like I said, we're at that point where we really have to be ruthless now. Cabrera can stay for the moment, maybe. Yeah, for the moment, but he's the first one to go if we need to bring in anybody else. And our other report from Egypt, we start off with Nadir Walid. Neat. Go ahead and sign him up. Tawfiq Suleiman will not be signed. Hassan Shanuda will not be signed. And Galaba El Shami will also not be signed. So there you go, our first scouting reports from Egypt, Bolivia, and New Zealand. All right, so we actually joined back again a little bit further in progress as we have a matchup here against Colchester before we get to that Checkatrade Trophy match against Portsmouth and the end of the transfer window, as we have loaned out another player. I think it was Ewan Morgan. We'll take a full look at the moves that have been made once we get there. I will say that the beginning of this episode I just realized might be a little bit more chopped up and a little bit more disjointed. We shall see. I'll catch you up on what happened as well after this match, as again, we give up an early goal. That's a trend to start the season. Let's sim the rest of it, and we get the draw. So, on the bright side here, we might not be top of the league. We were still top of the league before that match. Our second team is undefeated in league play so far this year. Of course, the second team played against Mansfield and got the win. We ended up drawing and losing on pens to Exeter. We ended up getting the 1-0 win over Wickham. First team was back in. We draw Rockdale. And then second team actually played here again against Colchester to set up the matchup against Portsmouth. So we're looking okay in that the second team is doing its job. It was just very disappointing to have been eliminated, of course, from the Carabao Cup, as we'll take out our Nay. Is there anybody else who's a little bit further along who deserves this training focus? Let's give it to Toby Kelly at this point. He has ridiculous ball control. We'll make him a little bit better defensively. We technically run him as a cam, but it might not be the worst thing in the world, as Oriana, Wilson, and Richardson all improve. Not bad. Big game here, though. We need to stay in these tournaments for as long as possible. We are going to have to go through the 10 days of the window first, I do believe. Or, no, okay, it does give you the game first. Galliano wants to play. That is not going to happen. Our first team is in, of course, Meyer, Kelly, Morgan, Anderson, Alton, and Eklund, Medved, Wilson, O'Leary, Wright, and Clark. So you get a look at the bench as well. It is a reduced bench for this game, but we should be okay. Let's go ahead and see if we can get the big win over Portsmouth. Perhaps our biggest challenge to date. Let's see what we can do here. 3, 2, 1. 2-1 win. Kelly wins it in the 84th minute. Now, we do lose Anderson to injury. We got lucky earlier with that SIP injury that was only for a week. That could be a devastating injury for us, and it is. Ove Anderson's out for 6 weeks. That could be a little bit problematic. I don't know if it's going to be a requirement to recall Horatio Sanchez. He is the third guy on the depth chart there for left mid, left wing, but I think we'll be able to survive without him, hopefully. We'll at least figure it out as far as the roster is concerned. I'll see you in a second. You don't have to sit through this. I'll sacrifice and sit through it myself. Hold on. All right, deadline day has come to a close. Unfortunately, we were not able to loan out anybody else before the window closed, although we do have another offer for Galliano, the 17,000th. We did get Manager of the Month award, or the Manager of the Month award as well, to begin our tenure in League One. We finished the first month and the first 5 matches played at the top of the table, which is very, very promising. And I just realized I should delete these before some people, before that obsession kind of kicks in. But just to recap what has happened for those who care about, following what happens around the living world. Some of the bigger moves that have gone down. Antonio Sanabria to Roma. Love using him in career mode. Cassie, Christian Pulisic, Rafinha to Liverpool. Bellerin on the move. Virgil van Dijk on the move. Oh, God. That killed me a little bit. I think that just killed me inside, even with Rabiot on the move as well. And just to look at what we did in the window, Morgan, Patrick Cox was loaned out, Horatio Sanchez, of course, and then some of the other moves that we made, cleaning up the roster, dating back to the last episode. I will see you in a few moments once we get to the next batch of scouting reports. Let's try to get back on a normal pace here. It's been a really weird episode to start things off, just in terms of pacing. Now, we're only 7 games in out of a 46-game schedule, but Tranmere Rovers, as of September 14th, are top of the league, 17 points through 7 games. Just to recap you on what's happened since we last talked. Of course, we beat Portsmouth, which was shocking. We've only had 2 games since then. We beat Birmingham, and we also beat Bolton. So we're on a pretty damn good run of form. In terms of any team changes, we have actually seen one where you may notice that a certain Cam has been signed. He wanted out. Arne has been signed. Our second team will be playing this game. Unfortunately, Kelly picked up a small injury. He's not going to be out for long, but he will be sitting the next game. So before we get to the scouting update, I just wanted to update you on that front. If I'm not mistaken, because the first team just played. Wilson also picked up a red card. So that's how we'll be doing it. The good thing is the team is set up quite well, with plenty of people having, an opportunity to get some playing time, whether off the bench or not. You would have noticed Berezovsky is off on the right. We had to move somebody over there after the injury. So let's take a look. Thabit Amos out of Egypt will not be signed. Yassine Abusir will not be signed either. Bilal Abubakar. I know the name. It's a real person. Yeah, but no, it's not going to happen. Well, he's not. You get the point. Taha El Shami will not be signed. And Taufik Shenuda will not be signed either. So Egypt, a bit of a swing and a miss for us on that attempt. Bolivia, Ronaldo Cano will not be signed. Eligio Bustos will not be signed. Gil Mancia, or Mancilla perhaps, will not be signed. Esteban Castaneda will not be signed. And Tomas Rivero is a no. Julio Quiroga will be signed, though, for obvious reasons. That brings us to New Zealand. Oscar Collins is a no. Bradley Collins is a no. Peter Brown, absolutely not. Will Murphy, you won't be. Sean Griffiths will not be signed. Dylan Ward and Jonathan Phillips even. I think we're going to be a little bit harsh on that front. So just to take a quick look at the academy as it stands, Galliano will be released. We need that high-end ceiling at this point, like Thomas Lund has, Placido Cano has at the moment. Montadon Cabrera will be dropped. Budawani gets to stay. Oriano gets to stay. Cornero's looking like a beast. Youssou Dior can stay. Actually, let me check something here. So 16... Okay, they at least have high overalls, too. If you're going to be 16 or 17 years old, you can't be closer to 50 than 60. Moussa Faye can absolutely stick around. Dior was there. Nader Walid's a 72 to a 92. 62 overall at 18 years old. He can stay for now. Cuesta, Sepulveda, Archie Bailey. Again, 48, but he's 15 at least. And Quiroga. So, yeah, we're fine. I mean, the academy right now is stacked. It's just a matter of hoping that players don't try to demand their way out too quickly. So let's sim this game against Sheffield United while we're here. See if we can get the win. Again, still on a really good run of form. They run a 5 at the back, so it could be tough to break down. Let's see what we can do. 3, 2, 1. It's a 1-0 win. I'll take it. Moritz Meyer, the lone goal. Their goalkeeper actually ended up getting hurt. All the more reason to just make sure I have a goalkeeper on the bench just in case. Suspension over for Wilson, and Luna is happy with his playtime. So I will see you guys in about a month. We'll get our final report again from Egypt, Bolivia, and New Zealand before starting in on scouting France, Colombia, and Germany. October 10th, 2021, Tranmere Rovers are still top of the league. 29 points through 12 games. We are off to a ridiculous start despite some injury trouble. We left after the 1-0 win against Sheffield. We followed that up with a 1-0 win over Fleetwood Town, a 1-0 win over Luton Town, and then it gets into October. We did lose to Portsmouth. That was our second team that was out there. The first team went on to beat Burton Albion midweek in the Checkatrade Trophy tournament, and then we beat Burton Albion again on the weekend with the second team. So the second team has only lost one game, and that was to Portsmouth, who we expect to be one of the better teams in the league. That said, they're actually not up there. Burton Albion's in 6th, and we just beat them twice. So that is very, very promising for us. The only other update that I have right now is that we have suffered a pretty big injury. I believe it's Harrison Wright. He's out for 3 months. He's already been gone for a month at this point. So that's a pretty big loss that is leading to Richardson, who's supposed to be out on loan, ideally getting some of that time. I see him more as a center back, but we have him. He wasn't loaned out, and he provides the depth that we needed. So with that, let's go ahead and get our final reports back before moving on, shall we? We have a big game against Shrewsbury coming up. Quite the rivalry already. I do plan on sending out the first team against them, and we'll play the second team against Bradford City on Tuesday. Very busy schedule, but it is paying off right now with the fact that we do have a set first and second team. It's working out very well, as mentioned. So let's take a look here. Kareem Al-Shami, just probably not good enough. I'll sign him for the moment. Abdul Wahab Al-Shami as well, we'll sign him. Nasir Gandour will not be signed. Aziz Walid will not be signed. And Kareem Suleiman will definitely be signed. But again, it's another goalkeeper. Too goddamn many at this point. Bolivia, we have Ruben Cuesta, who will not be signed. Valentin Fuentes, who will not be signed. Eugenio Dominguez. And Fabricio Barrios. Hello, that is the type of talent that we're looking for. We do have to get rid of somebody. Is there an obvious subject? Oriana's not that bad. Al-Shami, I'm sorry, buddy. It's not going to work. We need that higher ceiling. Same with the other Al-Shami at this point. Cuesta can stay. Quiroga will be on the way out. And we'll leave it at that for the moment. Let's sign Barrios, and then we have the final report from New Zealand. And we get Morgan Edwards, another goalkeeper. Sign him up for now. Jay Wilson, we'll sign him up. Joel Ward, unfortunately not. Archie Bennett, it's going to be a no. Toby King, my God, New Zealand. Look at New Zealand paying off for us here at the end. We're getting pretty lucky. Walid being a 63 is quite nice, but... Okay, so for goalkeepers at this point, right, we have Sepulveda, who's a 77 to a 94 and already a 64. Suleiman's a 50. No. We have others that are a bigger guarantee, and I don't want to have to develop you. Thankfully, we're not signing either Tyler Harrison or Joel Clark, so we'll just sign Toby King, and we're good for the moment, but like I said, that ruthlessness, it's going to have to be there, especially among the goalkeepers. So let's see what we can find. We will send our best scout, Andrew Kennedy, out to France. It is finally happening after much demand. Thomas Walsh, you, my friend, will get to go to Germany. And Jamie Carter will be taking a trip to Colombia, if I can get there. There we go. For some reason, the up option wasn't working. So there we go. Those are the next 3 regions that we're scouting. In the description is the full list of every nation that we've scouted, so that way you can keep that in mind. If you have any suggestions, let me know down in the comments. Of course, we're going to sim at least one more month to hopefully get that first scouting report back. So let me check the team here, because I know Anderson is back from injury. I thought so. I knew he was going to be back soon. So that does change things up a little bit. Luna can take a seat. Anderson will be back in for Roberts. So the bench for the first team is going to be Kelly, Roberts, Sip, and Cordoba. And I am going to have to get that second team reestablished. I might as well do that now just so you guys can see what the team is looking like. So Berezovsky goes back up to Cam. Luna is technically the backup right mid, and Roberts will be playing on the left. That means nobody is scratched. It isn't supposed to be. Actually, that's a flat-out lie, because it's right now we got to bump up Anderson again. And it will be Anderson who takes a spot there. Davies, I'm sorry, buddy. You're the odd man out. You're the odd man out. So we have our wing replacement option, our attacking and defensive midfield options. So I feel bad for Davies, but like I said, he's just the odd man out in terms of who we have set up right now. So we're only dealing with the one injury. It's nice to get Anderson back. It's nice that we've been as successful as we have been. Although, you know what? Screw it. Screw it. This will be the only way that Davies gets to be on the bench. But again, Eklund's a starter. Anderson's a starter. Screw it. Davies gets to stay. Maybe he gets a little bit of playing time. But there you go. The two teams are set up in ideal way as possible. Let's see if we can beat Shrewsbury. A rivalry at this point. I'd really like to get the win. They're in pretty good form, too. Let's see if we can get the job done. 3, 2, 1, and we lose. 1-0. They got a goal, penalty, 57th minute, and that was enough. So, needless to say, that rivalry will be continuing. We are still top of the league table. We play Bradford coming up. The second team will get that game. I'll see you guys in about a month for our first report from France, Germany, and Colombia, and potentially the end of the episode. I'm trying to time this out in an alright fashion. Mainly, I don't want to stop playing. I'm having too much fun with this. Now, we are a little bit shy of our first update, as Moritz Meyer was the October Player of the Month. As you can see, we have a pretty big cup match coming up in the Checkatrade Trophy against Luton. I want to sim through that game. I'll give you an update on what we've been looking like since. We also have a big game coming up against MK Dons. They've been towards the top half of the table for a while now. That's going to be a big test for our second team, as we have no choice but to play the first unit here in this game against Luton Town. That said, not much has happened. I mean, we lost to Shrewsbury. We bounced back kind of with the draw against Bradford, the win against Plymouth Argyle, and a 2-0 win against Southend United, and we have not played since. So let's see what happens here. First team is out for this quarterfinal matchup against Luton. I'd like to think we get the win, but they are in pretty good form. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Yes, there we go. They scored a goal in the 89th minute to break the shutout. We had a red card, 2 yellows for Wilson, and an injury to Berezovsky. Seem to have a lot of injury trouble when I end up doing these little live portions of simming a game. Only a day for Berezovsky, but Wilson has been suspended for that next match, which isn't that big of a deal. We'll have a little bit of training to do here as well. I really don't want to stop playing. This might end up being a longer episode. The hooks are in with this. I love this and trying to get the team to that next level. It is so addicting. FIFA Career Mode is so simple in so many ways, but my God, once you start up with the series that, you really end up enjoying, the hooks are in, and it's it's tough to want to stop playing, and that's what I'm going through right now. Davies, try to get a little bit of improvement for you as well. We got quite a few guys who are close to leveling up, which is pretty nice. We'll put the focus right now into Davies just to get him up to a 60, so he's not, no offense, but the weak link of the team, which he currently is. And he does go up to a 60. Anderson falls just short of going up to a 72. I'm very intrigued to see what happens here in this next match, and then of course we'll follow that up with those first few scouting reports. As we, as you can tell, have a decent lead right now. Still so early. We have 30 games left this season. But through 16 games, top of the league by 8 points. Which is tremendous. We'll see if the second team can get it done. As we just need to double check here. Clark is actually out on international duty. So we're not going to be able... Aaltonen also out there for Team Finland. We're not going to be able to have the extra keeper on the bench. Let's just put O'Leary out there. So Jackson, let's hope you don't get hurt. Probably jinxing that. Sip right now is playing striker. I don't know if I brought that up or not, but we did lose Kelly to injury. I think it was 7 weeks for him, and it's been 2 or 3 at this point already. But here we go. Let's see what we can do. They are in terrible form right now after being really solid for the first couple of weeks. So, we'll see what we can do here. Can we get the win? 3, 2, 1. It's a draw, and I'll take it. A goal in the 81st minute for them to tie it. I'm okay with that. At the very least, our second team is proving to be tough to beat, and they're consistently getting us points. I think they've only lost once, and that was to Portsmouth. So, no complaints about the second unit right now, especially with some of the injuries. Kennedy in France. Damien Pinot, would it be? Close enough. If you watch me play NHL, you know I'm terrible with French names. That said, let's see. Morgan Edwards is on the way out. Let's do a little bit of spring cleaning. Jay Wilson is going to be on the way out. Oriana's an interesting one. Dior's an interesting one. No other easy cuts. No other easy cuts. What about keepers right now? 85 to a 91, so he's a bit more of a guarantee, is Faye. Although Sepulveda's a better or higher overall. We're going to cut Dior for obvious reasons. Just not quite up to the same level. Jesus Christ. So if we're going to sign another keeper, it has to be Granero, right? My God. You want to talk about a guarantee. Sepulveda's pretty strong too. Granero has to be signed. He or Budawani. I think those are the two. 85, 91. He's 17 and 61. Yeah, Faye is gone. Budawani's better and further along, and I think Sepulveda, who isn't that bad, just also doesn't compare to Budawani or Granero. Budawani more than likely this season will ask out, so it's gonna be troublesome. We'll sign Pinot for the moment. Alexandre Aubert, would it be? We'll sign him as well. Holy France. Simon Deluc, would it be? Sign him up. Gilles Alfand, we can cut. Patrice Gagne, we can release as well. And Damien Moreau will not make it. I think I just accidentally signed him perhaps, though. Germany. We have scouted Germany before. I believe this is the first nation that we are returning to. They're the very first nation that we scouted out, but I'm all right with repeating. At this point, there are a couple of nations. I think after this, what I'm going to do is set it up and be like, okay, here are the nations we haven't scouted. I'm just going to add them to the list, and from there we'll make sure we'll scout out those locations. But we have returned to Germany. I was fine with it. That's something I didn't really talk about. I knew we were coming back, but I'm good with it. We do have a couple of players, at least one that's from Germany still in the lineup, and that being Moritz Meyer. Unfortunately, Moritz Winter will not be signed, nor will Paul Lang. So Germany was kind of a swing and a miss there. And Carter in Colombia. Eugenio Cardenas will not be signed. Octavio Correa will not be signed. German Benitez, Emigdio Diaz, and Lucio Ortiz. So not the best batch of prospects that we've ever seen. I really don't want to end this, so what we'll do at the very least, we'll get a squad update on the season thus far, but man, I don't want to stop. I don't want to stop going through this. Elliot Roberts, 19 appearances. He's played every first-team matchup, has 3 goals. He's up 3 points to a 70. Moritz Myers has 9 goals and an assist in 19 appearances. He's a +2 up to a 77. Sip, no improvements on the overall. 2 points through 19 games. You'll notice Meyer, though, an average rating was 7.3, which is really solid. Jay Morgan has been arguably our best player so far this year. A +1 up to a 70, 7 goals and 6 assists. Toby Kelly's a +1, 5 goals and 3 assists. The goalkeeper, Declan Clark, has kept 8 clean sheets in 15 appearances, which is great. Liam O'Leary, a +1. He has an assist. Conrad Medved, a +2, up to a 68. Alexander Eklund, a +2. He's up to a 69 with 2 goals. Adalberto Luna, a +3, up to a 68, 2 goals and an assist. Timo Altonen, a +2 to a 67 with 2 assists. Wilson, no points, but a +1 up to a 72. Torben Weber, a +1 up to a 66 with a goal. Ove Anderson missed some time, 14 appearances, no points, but a +1, he's up to a 71. Cordoba, a +2, up to a 63. Jonathan Kelly, 4 points in 12 games. He is currently injured, but he's a +2 up to a 66. Simon Kovac, a 64 now with an assist on the year. Berezovsky up to a 68 with an assist. Archie Kelly, a +2 to a 66. Johannesson, a +3 to a 65. Max Jackson, the backup goalkeeper, 10 appearances though already. That's how much action the second team unit has seen. +3 to a 76 with 3 clean sheets. Harrison Wright, a +1 up to a 69. Very nice. 1 goal in 9 appearances. Sean Bailey, a +2. Ed Richardson, a +2 and a goal on the season. Arne, a +1. Davies, a +3. Patrick Cox, who was loaned out, I believe that's to, is that to Darmstadt? Honestly, not sure where the hell that is. I believe it might be. Anyway, +1 to a 62. Galliano, of course, hasn't been loaned out, but he's a +4 on the year. And then we get into the loanees. Liam Clark up to a 64. Now here's the thing, we're still at a 64. If I were to recall any of these loaned out players, we would more than likely be able to see more improvement than what they're showing. But Morgan's showing a +1 and Sanchez showing a +1 as well. As much as I hate to do this, we have to end the episode. I'm not happy about it because I still want to keep playing, but it's been a long enough episode as it is. So we are going to end this one. I do thank you guys for watching. I'm glad you're enjoying this series because if you can't tell, I am as well. This is going nowhere, and in terms of our start here in League One, again the 3rd tier, we're off to a flying start right now, and I'm very intrigued to see what happens the rest of the way. Hopefully we can stay healthy. As far as the youth academy, hopefully there's not too much trouble in terms of players wanting to be called up. I'm very intrigued. I'm very excited for the rest of this, and God, I don't want to stop playing, but we do have to end it for now. Thank you very much for watching. You know the deal. Support the video, support the channel, all that happy, fun stuff. Again, in the description will be the list of already scouted nations. I think just because of how many we have scouted at this point, there's only a very few there's only a very few nations remaining that haven't been scouted yet. Maybe we'll just make sure we do an entire world tour before going back on other nations like we did with Germany. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, have a good one, and I'll catch you later.